I'm here at Kroger, and boy, they put some bright lights out here. I know they didn't replace each bulb, but to me, the lights seem real bright out here, which is good because I can make a video. I don't have to worry about good, library has adequate, good lighting. Can't even say the lighting, but outside here I got, it's like twice bright. Maybe it's just me, but I know. Yeah, you see how well you can see everything? Well, anyway, back to my story. I really liked when I grew up, the 1970s. But there was a problem. I shouldn't say problem. I liked, and why I like it a little dark in the background, it sort of fits this video. This story I'm about to tell you, it doesn't need real bright light. Well, daylight, sun's up, or bright overhead. I need a little darkness in this video. But anyway, the only problem I had about, sorry for the noise. The only problem I had about the 1970s, and sometimes when I spell something out, the reason why I do that, just in case your household is noisy and maybe spelling it out will catch somebody's attention and prompt them to watch my video here. That's why I do that too. Of course, I've explained that in past videos. But anyway, back to my story. The 70s was simple, but there's one thing. I'll go ahead and say problem, even though I don't want to, because it's not as bad as it sounds. But I thought the 70s, when I grew up, to me it felt like a real long decade. Yes, it was I liked growing up in the 1970s. I really did. But let's flip that coin over. Of course, I didn't really care for going to school that much. I mean, I liked school. I'm a typical young boy, teenager. I liked school and I didn't. Maybe that's part of the reason why it seems so long. But I was so glad. Oh, I was so glad to see New Year's Eve, 1979, going into 1980. Oh, I mean, I'm not making this up. If you've been alive and been with me New Year's Eve, 1979, you've seen a big smile on my face, because in just a few hours, we're going into a new decade, 1980, 1980. I love saying that. I don't know why, but to me, the 70s was a long decade. I know I sound horrible saying this. I shouldn't say it this way. But to me, the 70s was, oh my God, it just, you can only get a banjo string so tight. I don't know. Something about that decade when I grew up, it was long. And I was thrilled to death when it come midnight, 1980, Happy New Year. Don't get me wrong. I know I sound horrible. I enjoyed the 70s. I really did. It was a simple time to be. It was wonderful. It was simple. But yet, to me, it was just a little too long of a decade. I don't know. Maybe I had boring teachers. I don't know. Maybe it's because I went to school. I don't know. I sound horrible, don't I? But to me, I was so thrilled. I was so thrilled to see the 70s end. Oh, New Year's Eve, 1979. Oh, I was so glad. And that's horrible for me to say. It's horrible for me to say that. I hate saying it that way. But to me, the 70s was a long decade. I don't know. It just, I wouldn't want to live through a long decade like I don't care how good it is. You know, you want to change of pace. And the 80s was. But I don't know. One thing, you know, I mean, the 70s were just a long decade to me. It drug out and drug out and drug out. I'm not kidding you. It just, oh God. It just drug out. I don't know. It just seemed like it was 10 times longer than what it should have been. But yet, I got a tear in my eyes because I missed the 70s. I missed the 1970s. Yeah, and here I'm talking kind of bad about the decade. Still miss it. Still miss that decade. But to be honest about it, I was so glad to see 1980, 1980. I was thrilled. New Year's Day. I walked outside, smelt the fresh air. Sorry for the noise. Smelt the fresh air of a brand new decade. I did shed a tear my last goodbye to the 70s. I did